Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So this past weekend we had the Speed for All event. So it was big tire, small tire, street eliminator, and grocery getter. I entered myself in grocery getter. Car fits the rules, and the guys that were running street eliminator were allowed to have power adders. So a lot of guys were running, low 6 second, high 5 second passes. So I went grocery getter, which I've driven the car thousands of miles. I've driven it to work. I've driven it to go to car meets and stuff, drive it to the track every weekend. Didn't think anybody would have an issue with it. So we had a good turnout for street eliminator. We didn't have a great turnout for grocery getter. There was only 4 cars. And there was only 3 when we went up for the first test pass. So there was a white short bed single cab truck and a silver Impala. And they made their test pass, whatever. Truck won that one, but it was just test pass, so it didn't count. And then I went up by myself, made a time run. So we got back and we were going to go up for a second time run. So at this point, somebody had mentioned something about how I was on drag radials. Now, in the rules, it says that drag radials are allowed. So we go up for the second time run, and I wanted to make sure that I got up there before the other 2 because I wanted to try to race the guy that was saying stuff about the radials. So I go up there, and there's a red Kia Stinger that pulls up next to me that was not there during the first time run. Not sure where he came from. Don't care. I was glad to have a 4th car, so that would make the field even. So we went up and made our time run. Now, Kia Stingers have turbos, which in the rules there was no boost. I didn't have an issue with it. The guy was on a hard tire. He's running factory setup, factory car. I didn't care. But nobody said anything about him having turbos because everybody was so focused on the fact that I was running radials, and I didn't want to point fingers. I just kept my mouth shut. My car was within the rules, so that's how I was going to run it. So we made the second test pass. So we come back. Obviously, I beat the Kia. So we're sitting there. They announced chip draw for first round. So we go up. Eric Triglet was running the chip draw. Several of you guys may have seen him. He's got a yellow first gen big block nitrous Camaro that's done no prep stuff all over the place. So he was the one that was doing the chip draws and everything. So we go up, pay our fees, go do chip draw. So I draw my chip. It's 2 second pair, right lane. I prefer the right lane usually, so I was like, all right, cool. I really don't care who I get. Ended up getting the silver Impala, which is somebody that I bracket race with pretty often. And then the truck and the Kia drew each other. They were first pair. So the truck and the Kia had to race to see who was going to move on to the final for that. So the truck beats the Kia. The dad of the guy that was driving the truck was standing on the starting line. He was fist pumping, so I knew that he had won. So then it was my turn to race the Impala. So afterwards, I went over and talked to the guy that had the Impala. Like I said, me and him have known each other for a while now. He's an older guy. It's real nice. And he goes, yeah, I knew I didn't have a chance. And I was like, well, but you're out here having fun. And that's all that matters. And he goes, yeah, I don't know why they're complaining. He's like, your car fits the rules the way that they're written. And I was like, well, I thought so. But if they're complaining, they can't really do anything because my car does fit the rules. And I drive it. It's not like it's something that I, trailer to the track. I drive it to the track. All my stuff was sitting over in my pits, and I'm like, if anybody has a doubt about whether I drive the car or not, go look at my pits. I didn't trailer here. And I live probably 40 miles away, something like that. So it was me and the truck. So we go back up to Eric's trailer, do a coin flip. He drove further, so I let him call it, and he called heads. It was heads. So at that point, I'm like, I don't know which lane he's going to pick. He's been in both lanes. Either he saw something in the right lane that he liked, or he knew that I'd been in the right lane all day and was trying to throw me off. But he chose to take right lane, put me in the left, first time I'd been there all day. This was a no-time event, so I had no idea what that truck was running. So we go up there, we're talking a little bit, and we went up for the final. So that's my first ever win at Coles County Dragway. It may not have been bracket racing, but a win's a win. So I not only won the grocery getter class, but I also got a Wally for doing so, which is a huge award in drag racing. So afterwards, I went over and talked to the guy with the truck, went to tell him good racing and everything, and he brought up the radials, and I was like, well, it's in the rules that I can run a radial. And I showed it to him just to make sure that he understood. So he was like, well, that's all right, I guess. I wish I would have known that. I would have brought radials too. And I'm like, I wish you would have, because it would have made a better race. Then he brought up the Kia, and he goes, well, that Kia I raced first round had turbos. And I'm like, yes, it did. That car technically shouldn't have been here. But we talked for a little bit more, and my car has a 350 small block Chevy with Edelbrock E Street heads, which are basically just factory Vortec heads that are cast out of aluminum. So I have technically factory heads, but we'll say heads, cam, intake. And then I have headers and normal stuff. I have a 3800 stall converter and a 390 gear. After talking to him, he had a 5.3 LS with cam, heads, intake. And I was like, okay, so on paper, he should make more horsepower than me. And I was like, he said something about the truck being sluggish out of the hole, and I'm like, you probably got stock gears, don't you? He goes, no, they're 14 gears, and I got a 3600 stall. So I'm like, our drivetrains are the exact same upgrades. Why? I mean, I didn't say any of this to him, but I was like, why are you complaining about my car when we have the same stuff done to our vehicles? So, but yeah, so it was a great weekend. All the controversy aside, I won the class. Was pretty excited about that. And congrats to the guys that won Street Eliminator, and then Eric Triglet won big tire and small tire. So good job to him. Overall, I think it was a good weekend. I wish there had been more cars in Grocery Getter, but it's the first time we've done it this way. New rules. So I'm hoping that next year we have even more cars and can actually make it a little bit more competitive. I know there's several cars that were on the property that could have entered Grocery Getter that decided not to, and several of them I know are faster than me. So we'll see what I can do next year and see if I can defend that title. next weekend we go back into points. So it's going to be points race number 3 for us. So I'm going to go back to bracket racing. Hopefully after finding out that I had some issues with my ignition system, hopefully we get that all sorted out. This past weekend we got all our time slips at the end of it, and it seemed to be running more consistent. So see what happens. So I'm glad. Thanks for hanging out and watching the channel, and we'll see you guys later.
I keep chasing that same old devil down the same old dead-end highway, riding that storm running through my veins like a shot down tailspin airplane. You're scared of nothing and I'm scared to death. I can't breathe and I catch my breath, but I keep chasing that same old devil down the same old dead-end highway. I'm gonna trade this life for fortune and fame. I'd even cut my hair and change my name, 'cause we all best to